Welcome to Techopia Live. Thank you very much for joining us here today. For those of you that just tuned in, we are here on either our YouTube channel or Twitter, or maybe you found us even on Facebook. If you're here today, that you know already that Techopia Live is dedicated in showcasing some of the amazing tech and, of course, entrepreneurs and companies that we have in our city that's making an impact both locally and on a global perspective. And I am super excited because today we are sitting down with MDS Aero Support, specifically today, that specific segment of the company. And we are talking about a huge opportunity that's come to fruition, but also a phenomenal collaboration and partnership that's come to fruition for this company that has worked now with Rolls-Royce to use one of the actually most amazing and largest engine testing facilities. Now, Rolls-Royce, we have to just clarify for those of you that don't know, it's not just cars, it's actually the third largest aircraft engine manufacturer in the world. And yes, we are here today with MDS Aero and of course their VP, Executive VP, Joe Hijar. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm very excited to have you here and talk a little bit more about this amazing company. Next to him, we have my co-host today, Steele Campbell from TD. Thank you very much for joining me. You are also part of TD's customer relations aspect, and you are playing a key role in helping clients through the process and being a part of what TD has to offer. And thank you so much for being one of the supporters of Techopia Live. So what I'm going to do, Joe, is I'm going to pass the microphone over to Steele and have him ask the first question. We have lots of questions for you. We have little time, and this is a big, big deal for MDS. So let's get straight into it.
So to expand a little bit on Carlo's intro with Rolls-Royce, you're doing this engine test facility. So can you talk to us a little bit about the journey that you've been on with Rolls-Royce and how that has come to be and now what that means as you're kind of growing into this new project in England?
Sure. So thank you for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity. Just to put the journey into perspective a little bit, Rolls-Royce is building a next generation aircraft engine. This thing is huge. And they came to us with a pretty big ask. And that was, we have this massive brand new aircraft engine. Its diameter, just to kind of give you a size or scale, it's 12 feet in diameter. You can stand inside this engine and not be able to reach the top. But they want to take this engine and they want to put it in an indoor room, call it a bunker, we call it a test cell, and they want to put it through its paces. They want to test it, they want to break it, they want to push the envelopes of testing to develop the data that they need to produce a better product. So when you're looking to build a facility like this to help them develop this product, obviously a lot goes into it. It took about a year in the making in terms of the planning. This is not a commodity, it's a complex test facility. It's not something you give to your procurement team and hope that the lowest bidder kind of comes in and gives you a solution. So it took our engineers, who I believe are the best engineers in the world when it comes to how to test engines, coupled with Rolls-Royce's engineers, who are the best in the world of how to develop engines, put them around the table and great things happen. So they sat around the table for a year and they asked questions like, what is the art of the possible? How can we push technology to the limits? What things can we do in a testing environment to really give us the information we need to make good decisions to develop our products better. So that year journey helped develop concepts, put specification requirements together. It's a risk share approach. We built a lab together to demonstrate some technology capabilities. And then at the end of it all, they trusted in MDS to deliver. So we have a commitment now to build them the world's largest aircraft engine test facility that will ever be built. So it's really, really exciting.
Yeah. That is spectacular. I can see the enthusiasm and the excitement. I can just imagine Joe like standing right there in the test facility on a consistent basis and it's wonderful to know that it's taking place right here. But of course, there's a variety of things that needs to be top of mind, the considerations that is top of mind for you, specifically for MDS when you guys are operating in foreign jurisdictions. So maybe you can share with us a little bit what those considerations are.
Okay. So, this facility will be built in the UK, in England, and that region is not really foreign to us. We're celebrating 20-year anniversary for an office that we have there. We have engineers, technicians, business managers that operate out of that region to support our European customers. But we work in 27 different countries. We build test facilities for many people that aspire to develop aircraft engines. Or it's a gas turbine really, and these gas turbines are used for aircraft engines, but they're also used in industrial applications for power generation. They're also used in marine applications to power cruise liners and ships. But that technology is similar in its testing strategies. So we support customers all around the world. We leverage Canada's trade commissioners. These people are positioned throughout the world there to help companies like us export. They'll introduce you to customers, they'll introduce you to key supply chain, they'll help you bridge that cultural gap that you need to bridge. There's also a Crown corporation called CCC, and I would say that without CCC, MDS wouldn't be in existence today. They facilitate contract negotiations and act as a prime. So they'll sit with a customer and say, Canada will deliver this project to you. And they offer a sovereign guarantee that a Canadian company will perform. And it really allows customers who have never worked with you feel confident that you will perform. So these types of organizations really help us work internationally.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Now, you've touched a little bit on, what, is associated maybe with the question that I want to ask next. And, in terms of, for example, MDS Ottawa operations, maybe you can share what types of work specifically will be done on this huge project, from the capital region.
Carlo, I'm really glad you asked me that question because, this is a massive project, and if you can just kind of imagine Rolls-Royce, as you say, they're one of the 3 biggest aircraft engine manufacturers in the world. They basically said, all right, here's the contract, go to it, and it's everything. We're responsible for everything. We're tier 1, a Canadian company in Ottawa with 50% of our engineers are Carleton graduates. Our president's a Carleton graduate. I'm a Carleton graduate. We grew up here and are being asked by a company like Rolls-Royce on a turnkey basis to deliver a facility that's mission critical to their future. It's remarkable, and so you ask what we're actually doing. We're doing it all. We're responsible for every single decision that's made on this facility. So our engineers, we have a lot of background IP that we're going to leverage, but we're building snowflakes, we're pushing technology, we're pushing the envelopes in terms of what's the art of the possible in this test cell. Rolls is demanding, and the more we can give them, the better their products can become in their industry. But when it comes to design, we design in-house. We use our international supply chain to manufacture. We deploy our engineers to do installation supervision, construction management, and every test system in that facility is going to be end-to-end tested by Ottawa engineers. So these are the people that are ultimately responsible end-to-end, and they will prove those systems out for Rolls-Royce through acceptance test procedures, all with Canadian engineering.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So my next question kind of follows on to that. So you talked a little bit in my first question about what the facility is and what it's going to do, but can you talk about what the key characteristics are and what are the capacity here? What's the capability?
Okay, so this is great. So everybody knows an aircraft engine is a pretty powerful beast, and you sat in a plane and you've been on a tarmac and you felt the pilot's ready to take off. He kind of pushes that throttle forward and you feel the power behind your back kind of propelling down the runway. We're doing that indoors. So we're taking an aircraft engine, we're hanging it in the ceiling, and this building is massive. When we say it's the biggest in the world, it's because the engine's massive, and we got to make sure the engine believes it's outside, but we're putting it inside. So the aerodynamics is tricky. So we're taking this engine, we're putting basically a control operator, or a pilot, so to speak, in a control room, and we're telling them to run that engine to full power, and our test equipment has to kind of hold that engine back. So we're pushing this engine full thrust, and we're holding it back. And while we're holding it back, we have to measure everything that's happening. So just to, and it's not just, and I consider that full power kind of motion as a normal operating condition, because this is a lab environment, it's experimental, they're doing some pretty crazy tests within this test cell. So we're creating some complexities in the sense that they are throwing birds at it to see how the engine behaves. They are intentionally igniting blades so that the blade will come off the engine to see how the engine handles that blade off. Can it contain it? You know, you have to demonstrate to the authorities that that blade will not damage the aircraft because there's passengers on board. It will contain it. They can do a safe shutdown. We are pushing the envelope on measurement capabilities. During all these types of tests, we're collecting data. I think just to give you a sense of the amount of data we're collecting, you know, there's 300, I think the stat is 350,000 measurements every second. 350,000 measurements. And you have to bring that data in and you have to synchronize it. You have to ensure it's accurate. You have to make sure there's no uncertainty in it. And you have to produce a report and a data that you can give to your customer, Rolls-Royce, and say, here's how your engine behaved during those types of tests. In this instance, at this point in time, when that blade actually came off, what happened at that millisecond moment? You have to be able to demonstrate that and show them that data. They need that information. It's all about the data to organizations like Rolls-Royce. Another cool feature in this test cell, which has kind of never been done before, and we're going to pull it off, is that while they're running this engine, they want to be X-raying it. And you know, X-rays it's dangerous, right? So you build the test cell walls to protect people, to protect equipment, to ensure there's noise. You're managing the noise so you can actually operate not far away from it, but also from an X-ray. So the wall thickness in this test cell is 2.5 meters thick. So it's actually two walls with an air gap, but the combined concrete thickness is 2.5 meters thick. The doors have to be X-ray proof. The interlock, the safety locking features that you have to design into this facility to protect people and protect equipment is intense. So this facility is not only the biggest in the world, but it's the highest technology facility that will ever be built.
That is spectacular. I love the fact that they have to set the blades on fire, and they're like, that guy looks like he could be a test subject. Would you like that? This is phenomenal. So thank you so much for taking the time and kind of laying that out for us a little bit. Once again, if you're watching this, you are here at KRP Properties. I'm here with my co-host, Steele Campbell from TD, and of course, the Executive Vice President of MDS Aero, Joe Hajar. Thank you so much for being with us today. I have one more question I want to ask you. I know you have had some support, of course, from NRC, and they've played a part in, supporting you in making this new test facility happen, but also in general with MDS. Maybe you can share a little bit more about that partnership and what role they played.
I'm glad you brought that up because the NRC has been a partner of ours for many, many years. In fact, we've joined forces in the past. We together, as a partnership, operate a facility in northern Manitoba called Glacier. It's a cold weather test facility, so Rolls-Royce and Pratt & Whitney bring their engines to our facility in northern Manitoba, and the NRC and MDS together put those engines through cold weather testing. So we try to prove icing conditions, cold starts, things like that. So we lean on the NRC often for helping us advance research so that we can bring technology to market faster. And there's portfolios within the NRC that are designed to help organizations like us through their investment, through Canadian investment, working with us to accelerate that research and development activity. And one thing that we needed them on this particular project more than anything was their expertise in research of aerodynamics and acoustics. We have our own engineers, we coupled them with their engineers, and we built scale model. We built a scale model of this massive complex. We had to prove to ourselves that our theory was right. We had to prove to Rolls-Royce that the bed that we're going to build, we're going to build it right the first time. And then if you get the aerodynamics wrong, you're knocking walls down. Like, it's a big deal. So you got to spend a lot of time and money convincing yourself you've got it right. You've right-sized the facility. This industry, there's test cells all over the world. Not this big, but there's test cells all over the world, and they all, struggle to a certain extent with the perfect balance of aerodynamics and acoustics. When you improve the airflow of a test cell, you may be sacrificing the noise signature. When you improve the noise signature, you may sacrifice the aerodynamics. So there's a lot of variables here in right sizing, and because this is one of the biggest engines in the world and the biggest test cell in the world, we have no real data to go on. So we had to lean on the labs at the NRC and the research at the NRC to help us prove that we've got it right. And I think we do, and the future will tell us. Yeah.
Well, it's wonderful to see, once again, just the collaboration, the partnership, and the skill level of the engineers and the scientists that's right here in our city, and how that's being applied to real business and world-changing projects. So thank you so much for coming here today and sharing that a little bit. For those of you that's watching this here on Techopia Live, if you haven't done so already, you probably should go to techopia.ca and go find out more about what's happening in tech in general. Also, a big thank you once again, Executive Vice President of MDS Aero, Joe Hajar. Thank you so much for joining us today. And then, of course, from TD Bank, supporters here of Techopia Live, Steele Campbell, thank you so much for joining me today, my co-host. Hope to see you guys next time. Make sure that you stay tuned, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.